Okay, thank you. A couple of announcements. Again, I want to remind everybody that the board is offering office hours during the month, and for anybody that would like to come in and talk to a board member, please call the board office at 773-553-1600. That's 1-600. We look forward to seeing you during office hours. Secondly, we are about to start the cycle for local school council elections this year. As I think you all know, perhaps the most significant and most formal way for members of the community, both the school community and the community at large, to be engaged in our educational process here and in improving schools is to get elected to a local school council. And so we want to encourage everyone and anyone to consider joining the process. The nomination process will formally start on November 18th, and the nomination process will run through February. And this will lead to an election process in April. For those of you who are interested, candidate nomination packets will be available at your schools. Barbara, are they available now, or will they be available on the 18th of November? So the nomination packages will be available on the 18th at your local school. We want to encourage everyone to consider getting engaged in this way, and we look forward to the elections in April. Thank you very, very much. Madam Secretary, would you please share the details of the next board meeting?
Thank you, Mr. President. The next board meeting will be held on November 20th, 2013. Due to the Veterans Day holiday on Monday, November 11, 2013, advanced registration will open at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, November 12th, 2013, and be extended to Monday, November 18th, 2013 at 5 p.m., or until all slots are filled, whichever is first. If anyone has any questions about this process, please contact the board office for our assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And so let's now proceed with today's public participation session.
Thank you, Mr. President. So our first group of speakers have identified their designated speakers. I will call speaker number 1, please, Jill Hull, followed by speaker number 6, Brenda Delgado, and then speaker number 2, Andrew Broy, followed by speaker number 3, Dwayne Truss, please.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Jill Wall, and I am a monolingual parent of a child who is bilingual and biliterate thanks to the Chicago Public Schools. I am here to talk to you about something you may already be familiar with, which is to put into place a strong and persistent vision and action plan for a multilingual CPS. I have distributed a handout to you already, which provides some further detail, but by no means is intended to replace the vast subject matter expertise and dedication possessed by staff in CPS's own Department of Language and Cultural Education. The benefits of multilingualism are clear. Research shows it builds better brain connections, boosts achievement, provides richer career opportunities, and even protects against Alzheimer's. A multilingual, multicultural student is one who is truly prepared for the 21st century workforce and has skills relevant to a global marketplace. A CPS vision and investment in a multilingual, multicultural student population would be a game changer for the nation's 3rd largest public school district. There are many possible pathways to bilingualism. Chicago has one of the most diverse populations in terms of languages spoken, but the linguistic assets of too many children are still being left on the table. There are pockets of excellence here in the district, but we need a strong vision and sustained leadership at the very top levels of CPS, the mayor's office, ISB, and beyond to nurture, support, and sustain multiple pathways to, at a minimum, bilingualism. Long term, every child should be learning at least 2 languages as early as possible. Considering other languages than English as foreign and typically starting in high school is far too late to be successful.
Ms. Wool, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Sure.
Thank you.
We urge the district to reorganize and rally resources to build multiple pathways to multilingualism and multiculturalism. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
Hello, my name is Brenda Delgado Alves, and I'm a parent LSC member of Ruben Salazar Elementary, which is now a level 1 school, and it also had the top 1% nationally of NWA growth last year. I'm here to speak on dual language programs. Salazar is 80% Hispanic. Most of our students' primary language at home is Spanish. Historically, it is Salazar's ELL students that receive the highest test scores. And that is, we believe, because they are effectively Salazar's true dual language students. They're taught primarily in Spanish through 3rd grade and continue increased Spanish instruction through the 8th grade. Research repeatedly has proven that a dual language mind processes new information better as the brain alternates seamlessly between English and Spanish to comprehend, retain, and recover information. That's included in the 2001-2007 Thomas Cooper study that's included in your handout. I'm requesting the board not only recognize the advantages of a comprehensive dual language program, but meet the demand and interest from not only schools, parents, students, communities, and employers to declare dual language programs as a priority for CPS. I'm very aware there already exist various bilingual and a few dual language programs, but I'm representing the growing demand for dual language starting in pre-K or kindergarten that offers an expanding dual language curriculum through high school.
Ms. Delgado, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yes.
Thank you.
Starting a language in high school is too late and also negates the powerful support non-English speaking parents can provide during the elementary years. Chicago has a very large Hispanic population. Some of Salazar's parents don't have either a higher education or are not fluent in Spanish, and so they struggle to provide in-depth support for their children after the 4th grade when their ELL students transfer to primarily English instruction. Chicago has already declared itself a multilingual city via their 2007 declaration, and our mayor has clearly shown his commitment to making Chicago a global city. I'm asking the board to establish dual language as an effective means of creating higher performing, bilingual, bicultural, global students, better prepared academically for college, and capable of meeting the growing demand for fluent, bilingual, and bicultural professionals.
Thank you, Ms. Delgado.
Thank you, Ms. Delgado, and Ms. Wolf.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Our next speaker, please, Andrew Broy, followed by speaker number 3, Dwayne Truss, and then we will have speaker number 17, please, Marlene Rankin, followed by speaker 24, Joyce Chapman, followed by Jesse Sharkey from the CTU, please.
Good morning, President Vitale, CEO Bird Bennett, members of the board. I'm Andrew Broy. I'm the head of the Illinois Network of Charter Schools. And I've been coming to these board meetings for the better part of 4 years now, before the current board was appointed. And we've testified on a number of topics over the years, from the budget to charter allocations to renewal decisions, a number of other topics. What's always struck me as interesting about the board public comment period is the disconnect between the items up for consideration and vote by the board and the comments made by the audience. So I'm here today with a modest proposal. I suggest that the board consider breaking the public comment period into 2 distinct parts. 1 hour, where you solicit comments based on items actually up for consideration and vote, and another hour for more generalized comments and ideas and suggestions. We at INCS certainly testify in front of the CPS board, at the state board from time to time, at other school boards around the state, Rockford, Peoria, Springfield, places where we have member schools. And it's always struck me that most places you get comment that's germane and relevant to the decisions before the board, which strikes me as a better use of all of our time. I'd also add that for all of us rushing to sign up at an 8 and 8:08 the week before the board meeting, it's a shame when people who have germane comments on board items get shut out of that process. You still reserve 1 hour for comments generally applicable to board concerns or school concerns, but this would be both efficient, would benefit members of the audience to actually discuss items up for consideration, and hopefully benefit the board to give you diverse opinions about things you're actually voting on the day of the board. So I encourage you to think about that, consider it, and hopefully implement it sometime in the coming weeks and months.
Brilliant comment. Considering that on November 6th, we actually have a board retreat, and we're going to be discussing, I mean, I don't know if you had conversation with Abigail and me bugged a few weeks ago, but this is exactly what we're considering. And last time I was with Karen Lewis, I was asking her input as well, and she's like, yeah, there's not a lot of value in what goes on for 2 hours, and she agreed that we need to shake it up. So you're right on point.
Well, we agree fully.
Thank you, Andrew.
Good morning. My name is Dwayne Trust. I'm going to take the opposite viewpoint. My 2 minutes is my 2 minutes, and I pay taxes for those 2 minutes. So, if Mr. Broy don't want to hear about the incompetency of his charter schools, then so be it. He doesn't have to be here. Okay, based on Chicago Tribune WBZ articles,
Thank you for letting everybody know what our challenges are, Mr.
Yeah, so, if he comes out to Austin, we can let him know what our challenges are so he can stop with all this fantasy about, the 375 students that actually went to charter schools from closed schools, and he's saying they got all this demand. But 60% of the students registered at the designated welcoming schools. 40% enrolled elsewhere. I think you know all of this. And I think the fact is that, unfortunately, the capital improvements and additional resources did not follow those other students. For instance, if we look at Hughes, for instance, based on WBEZ reporting, they received about $1.85 million additional resources, and we're talking 12 kids that actually went to that school, which is a severe misallocation of resources. But I'm not here to just beat up on that point, but also to advocate for the fact that we do got schools like Penn, Crown, and other schools who did receive those students that still need those additional supports and resources that they're just not getting, as far as my understanding as of today. And that, I just want to advocate and implore the, the board members to look at this. Just, it has to be ongoing versus a one-shot deal, because those schools are still dealing with those students, our babies. And speaking of misalignment of resources, I was just informed yesterday that there's a faith-based organization that submitted a proposal for a charter school in Austin. And considering that, we took it on the chin and then some, with 4 schools being closed because of excess capacity, and the fact that we left standing with level 3 charter and contract schools, and we have no magnet school, not programs, magnet schools,
Mr.
in the
Truss?
largest community. I got you.
Thank
In the
you.
largest community in Chicago, it's like it's a disservice when I ask you to not even think about that in terms of even entertaining. It's their right to submit a proposal because it was open, but to even entertain after what happened to us in Austin, and we still don't have those programs, and we still want to make sure we get commitment for those programs at Leland, at DePriest, Ellington, that those programs remain, supported ongoing and moving forward. I got to ask you to really think about this when whoever's reviewing these proposals, that does a community like Austin need to see another charter school when we don't have any magnet schools at all?
Thank you, Mr. Truss.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you for indulging me.
Thank you. Our
Thank you,
next
Mr.
speaker,
Truss.
please. Speaker number 17, Marlene Rankin, followed by speaker 24, Joyce Chapman.
Good morning. My name is Marlene Owens Rankin, and I am the Managing Director of the Jesse Owens Foundation. On behalf of the Owens family, standing here, I would like to acknowledge the President of the Board of Education and the Mayor of the City of Chicago for recognizing the significance of this issue. We extend our gratitude to Chief Executive Officer Barbara Byrd Bennett for meeting with us and guiding us through the process for restoring our father's name to the school in the Roseland community. Her active and sustained support and involvement and that of her staff have been invaluable and greatly appreciated. We thank the LSC and the Roseland community for putting their children first and for understanding what's in a name. We are grateful for the support of Chicago civic leaders, media, educators, and the community at large for encouraging all Chicagoans to keep the torch of international Olympic icon Jesse Owens burning brightly. This is the 100th anniversary year of our father's birth. The restoration of his name to the Jesse Owens Community Academy is a wonderful centennial gift for the current and future generations of Chicago's children. We hope his powerful legacy will encourage all of them to strive for excellence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rankin.
Good morning. My name is Joyce Chapman. I am the chair of the Far South Community Action Council. And on behalf of the Far South, we do engage, educate, and empower. After attending one of the community meetings that the local school council of Gompers held for the name changing regarding the school action this past spring, we stood firm with them. And after they took their vote unanimously in October 2013, I want to say the second, correct me if I'm wrong, but we stood firmly. We listened to the LSC chair who came to our CAC meeting and said, we need your support. We stand firmly. We told the Owens family will come out today. I got up at 8:15. I missed the 8 o'clock deadline to go ahead and register. I registered to speak. And on behalf of the Far South Community Action Council, we say vote yes for Jesse Owens and vote yes for the legacy, what they have done for our school community. At this time, can I pass this out? Can I give this to you? This is regarding the Far South Community Action Council information. So, board members, President Vitale, board members, please vote yes for this honorary name changing. I thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to thank Ms. Rankin and Ms. Chapman for coming down and speaking to us today. I think Dr. Bird Bennett spoke eloquently for all of us in her earlier remarks, and I'm sure that the board members will proudly vote yes today.
David, I wanted to say
Yes,
one
Mahalia.
thing. This is a good example of where you have the welcoming school and the receiving school working together. This is this is a good example because we had said if any name changes took place, it had to come from the community, not us. So I just want to praise the community for coming together and working together and make sure people know that this is a good example of what we're looking for.
Thank you, Mahalia.
Mr. Vitale, members of the board, my name is Jesse Sharkey. I'm the Vice President of the Chicago Teachers Union. I'm extremely worried about your proposed promotion policy. As a classroom teacher who's taught in Chicago for 11 years, I'm worried the criteria will increase the number of students being retained. But I want to talk especially about the supports, because one of the real difficulties about summer school is it's perceived as a punishment for failing a test. And many times the students who do poorly on those tests are reluctant students, students who are discouraged, students who don't want to be there. And if what summer school consists of is taking a sort of computer-based education in which what the students do is retake test-like items on a computer, it's a recipe for disaster. And, it's not a recipe for enriching and making students like school more and do better. And I'm a little worried that I haven't heard the board talk about its experience with the Achievement Academies, which were run between 2003 and they're essentially being phased out. Or at least I know at 2 schools that I taught at, they're not being supported in the same way. You spent a lot of money on that program. You operated 8 of them. I think that there should be some discussion about what we learned from those achievement academies. One last point. One of the things I'm hearing a lot about right now in the schools is really a deluge of paperwork. High school teachers being asked to standardize tests prior to it being given and make a prediction for each one of their students about how the student is going to do on each item, and then go back after and fill in paperwork, kind of compliance paperwork, about network giving quarterly benchmarks in both math and English language arts, and then the network trains a single teacher who goes back to the school, and the teacher is responsible for training all the rest of the schools in the network and having to reproduce all the assessment materials.
Mr. Sharkey, excuse me.
The paperwork is crushing us. We want some relief from that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. I hope you heard, at least I heard, Annette mention that the second part of this whole work in the promotion policy was actually to review the summer school experience. So any advice you have for them, I'm sure they'll take it in as they go through this process of addressing the summer school experience for
Take
these
a look at the
kids.
Achievement Academies, and what they did is they promoted students to the buildings, but didn't give them the grade, but added a bunch of supports.
Yeah, so it's under review, and I'm sure they'll look forward to your input before we get to next summer. So thanks for your advice.
And David, can I tell
Yes.
him that for 2 years, I was working with the Achievement Academies. And definitely now that Annette Gurley's over, because the young lady who was with them has moved on. So we got our eye on the Achievement Academies. And I think definitely you will see something happening with them from a positive note, because it is a serious concern. Yes.
Thank you.
We didn't advocate computers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our next speakers then will be speaker number 4, please. Manolita Huber, followed by speaker number 8, Claudia De Luna, followed by speaker number 5, Beth Purvis, and then speaker number 10, please, John Hagee. Last call for Manolita Huber. Thank you. I'd just like to remind the public that as I call your name, please move to the to your right so that we can stage you and move as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. My name is Manolita Huber, a single mother with 3 children that attend CPS school. 16 days after the request for new charter school was released, the Chicago Board of Education voted to classroom spending from neighborhood schools by $168 million. This plan doesn't make sense when you are cutting basic needs and spend resources in new charter schools. Struggling with my concern as a parent is that CPS is misleading the public with this information on the need for charter school to be built across the north side and west side neighborhoods. The cost of a new average-sized charter schools will cost taxpayers $2.9 million. Charter schools many times claim they are funding their schools with private money. Fine, but reality is that as taxpayers, we will still have to pay for like startup costs, administrators' salaries, facility costs, and other expenses for these new charters, while our neighborhood schools suffer. Let's not forget that charter schools are publicly funded with the same tax money. We, parents, have been fighting for you to reallocate to our neighborhood schools. As a parent and homeowner that's struggling to make needs meet, these charter schools proposals are not the most cost-efficient plan for taxpayers.
Ms. Huber, excuse me, can you please conclude?
This doesn't make sense when the U.S. Census data projects that the population of students will decline. Public tax money should go to where it belongs, to our existing schools that have been starved of resources. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huber. Our next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Claudia De Luna, and I am mother for 2 children, one in Prosser High School and another in Hibbard High School, elementary school. I'm here today as a mother concerned about the lack of investment in our neighborhood school. This school year, you cut $168 million to school for an alleged financial crisis and $1 billion. My children face enrichment program eliminate, teachers laid off, lack of teacher aid, and yet CPS has no plan to open more charter schools. In the CPS use misleading information to justify charter expansion to overstate the overcrowding in our neighborhood. Wherever Hibbard is and its neighborhood school in Albany Park and no overcrowding. Hibbard is only 93% utilized. Sorry for my English. The plan to expand charter school requires the money that should go to my children's school. My question to you, Where are you expecting to get millions of dollars in new costs to invest in new charter school? How will you do such plan? We are further hurting the budget of neighborhood school that have already faced several budget cuts. Your plan to open charter school is simply wrong. It requires a lot of money with little sense. Thank you very much.